Hopefully this is recording. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to our road trip.
Before I go on, here's some context. This is me and my friend Max, and these are our happy faces 1 week before school starts. But seriously, after a really hyped summer, we decided to go big and spend the last week hiking, camping, and exploring two of Quebec's best provincial parks. Our plan was to drive all the way to the Gaspesie Peninsula, where the Atlantic Ocean meets the St. Lawrence, camp for 3 nights, and then slowly head back to Ottawa, camping for 1 more night in the Saguenay Fjord.
Hey, checking in. So we've got about an hour and a half left to go. We've already stopped for breakfast sandwiches, and then we just stopped again for ice cream.
Yeah, I'm stopping more than we thought, but it's chill because we're road tripping.
On day 1, we left town in the afternoon and drove for about 5 hours to this random Airbnb in Quebec City where we'd spend the night.
There's a little desk there. Here is the washroom. And get some chicken wraps. Artisanally crafted.
There we go.
They are pretty bussin'.
After waking up, making a visit to A&W, and taking a nice stroll through a random park, we got on the road again for another 6 hours to finally reach our campsite in Gaspesie Provincial Park.
Alright. We are checking in. Oh shit, this shit is sideways. Alright, we're checking in one more time. We are making good progress towards the park. As you can see, we're about an hour and 15 away from the campsite, so we're actually pretty close to the park itself. So some of the most scenic driving should be still ahead of us right now, because now the mountains are going to start and we're going to drive right by the ocean. It's going to be hype.
For a while, driving felt like we were on the same road for hours, and the only thing keeping us entertained was early 2000s songs. But as we got further and further away from the big city, we tuned out the music and took in the views.
About 14 minutes left in the drive until the campsite, and we are entering the park. Any last words for the drive?
You're probably gonna be really close to the cam, but yeah.
By the time we got to our campsite, the sun was already long gone. So we quickly set up the tent, cooked the food, and set up our sleeping stuff for the night.
3, 2, 1, go.
So we got to the campsite, we set up all of our stuff, we had dinner, we made hot dogs, and now we're just sitting at this Discovery Center because it's closed, and so we're sitting outside and there's Wi-Fi here. So we're just gonna chill here for a bit, and I think we're gonna go walk around and explore a little, see what's around here, and then we'll head back to the campsite and make a fire.
Okay, good morning. Both Max and I just woke up. It is 7:30 right now. We're about to head out on our hike.
We're gonna go to the bathroom, get all ready, and then head to the bus.
Yeah, bus leaves at 9 a.m., so we gotta be there or be square. And I for sure don't want to be square.
No.
After packing up, Max and I parked the car next to the Discovery Center and hopped on a bus that would take us 40 kilometers east to the base of Mount Jacques-Cartier. Being the tallest peak in the park, the top of MJC is completely covered in tundra, making it the perfect place to spot wild caribou in the summer. And as the weather cleared up and we drove further and further down the long gravel road, hopes were high that we'd see the caribou today. Since the trailhead was already located at 900 meters above sea level, this hike would be a bit of a warm-up for the big one tomorrow. In no time, we reached the alpine belt, where the trees disappeared and everything was covered in weirdly colored rocks and moss, which the caribou love to snack on. The moss, not the rocks. Obviously, I don't know why I had to clarify. Anyway, just enjoy the view. beautiful as it was standing there admiring the Appalachians, we definitely underestimated how cold and windy it really was at the summit. Even with a few layers of clothing, we still had a hard time keeping ourselves warm enough, so after a quick stop at the outpost, we headed back down. At least we did get to see some caribou. They were really far away, but still noticeable if you looked hard enough. Unfortunately, this small herd of around 50 caribou is the only one that still exists south of the St. Lawrence. And while the 800 square kilometers of protected land do offer some security, logging outside the park only helps predators track the caribou, which can be especially dangerous during calving season in the spring. After finishing up dinner, we headed out to the Discovery Center to chill, use the Wi-Fi, and relax before a long day of hiking tomorrow.
We're also at a new campsite because we only had the last one for one night, so we had to move, and this one we've got for 2 nights, and then we move again.
Squirrel. There it goes.
But now we're making dinner, which is going to be hot dogs again. The hike wasn't actually so bad. It was about 10 kilometers. The only thing is it was freezing and super windy at the top of the mountain, but other than that, it didn't take us that long, and then we just had to wait a while to get the bus back. But yeah, tomorrow is a much bigger hike, so we'll hope for the best.
Here are dogs cooking. Ooh, they smell. What's the plan here right now?
Well, the plan is no plan.
Are you trying to set up a house?
I don't know. Like, sort of, but it might fall, and then...
Yeah, that feels kind of like a tall house.
But then usually it falls in, like, a good position. So
That's
maybe with some luck, we'll be okay. And we'll use these, so we'll have... It's kind of cheating, but it helps.
Yeah, there's plenty of those.
Good morning, we're going to the bathroom.
Yeah, it's been a really cold night out here, but our sleeping bags keep us warm. We're gonna go to the bathroom, have breakfast, and then hopefully go to the bathroom again. And then probably we're gonna try
This
to
day
hike
was going to be the peak of our trip. Literally. All of our driving, camping, and hiking was to prepare ourselves to hike the Mount Albert Loop, a 20-kilometer trail with 1,000 meters of elevation and technical terrain which winds around Mount Albert, the 9th highest peak in Quebec. The first miles went by pretty quickly, but as we got further into the climb, the trail narrowed, revealing the rocks, twists, and turns of the mountain. Along the way, we got a few sneak peeks of the landscape through the trees, but nothing could compare to the views from the top. "1,000 meters above sea level, you could see every mountain in the park, including Jacques Cartier, which we climbed yesterday. Even the ocean was just barely visible behind the sea of green. At the summit, there was also a little shack for hikers to stretch their legs. There's even an outhouse, which was probably the worst smelling one in the whole park. 20 minutes and 2 subs later, we got to move on again across the top of Mount Albert. This time around, the landscape looked a lot different from before. The pine trees, bushes, and rolling hills turned into a mossy, deserted bunch of rocks. Before starting the loop, we were warned by one of the park rangers that hiking the loop counterclockwise was a really bad idea because of a rocky technical section around halfway through the hike. We decided to take her advice and do the trail counterclockwise, but to be honest, we were probably worse off descending through this part of the trail. The constant jumps and landings really took a toll on our joints, and by the time we arrived at the next shelter, we were exhausted. After a much-needed rest, some water, and the rest of our pizza subs, we finished off the trail in just under 6 hours. It's a good thing we saved our favorite meal for last because we were hungry.
Say hi from a yonder.
I'm from over here.
Hello everyone, we are currently having our dinner.
It's really good. It's probably our best meal we've had so far.
Pesto pasta, cheesy pesto pasta. We just climbed Mount Albert. What are the feelings on that, Max?
It was really long. It was hard. My legs were exhausted. And my knees hurt. But it was fun. It took 6 hours.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
We didn't see any caribous or nothing, but it was pretty tough, so we're rewarding ourselves with a nice meal. Praise the Lord. And some leftover rum. It is morning.
A bit of a rainy start to the day, but we're having some warm oatmeal. And then we might head over to the Discovery Center for a little bit before we head to the ferry. Or to get groceries and then the ferry.
Last day on the site. This is my sad last day face.
Just as soon as we started to settle in, the time had come to leave Gaspesie behind and move on to our next adventure. Although it was a little sad that our trip was almost over, we couldn't have lucked out any more with the weather. For 3 days, we got a streak of sun that kept us dry and mostly warm. And just as we started to pack up and drive out of the park, it started raining. Gaspesie Park is honestly a gem in the middle of a largely unknown and uninhabited area. The vast mountains and forests hide so much incredible and unique wildlife, leaving you mesmerized by the untamed beauty of nature. The amount of trails, adventures, and history here is something that you have to really come back again and again to fully experience.
We're sitting by the water on this fun little old lady chair, like this chair table that moves back and forth. We just went for a walk into some stores, got ourselves some Twinkies, and now we're just chilling and waiting to get on the ferry. And we stopped at McDonald's for lunch.
Yeah, which the ferry is over there in the distance. Hold up. There she blows. Yeah, either way. We've had a heck of an old time at Gaspesie Park. Now we're just sitting on a rocker. Gonna eat our Twinkies and enjoy the ocean breeze.
The next step in our little adventure was to board a ferry across the St. Lawrence and set up camp in the beautiful Fjord de Saguenay Park, a place equally as stunning and rich in nature and wildlife. Even after today's 5 hours on the road and 3 on the ferry, we still had a super long drive from Saguenay all the way home to Ottawa. But for now, we didn't have to think about it, so we bought some poutine and watched the waves roll by.
We made it.
After a long drive and a long ferry ride, we made it just before the entrance closed, and we're all set up. We had pesto pasta for dinner, and we're getting ready to make a fire and then go to bed.
I think we're looking at another pretty cold night, but it's pretty cold out there right now, but we'll see. Usually our sleeping bags are pretty warm.
Yeah, so far, first impressions are it's very nice.
It's really nice. This bathroom is very nice.
Yeah, as you can see, it's got all sorts of stuff. The only thing I wish it had was a faucet for the hot water.
Yeah.
But we're gonna make do with what we can because we're campers, right?
Right.
One more night and then a 7.5 hour drive,
Last night.
and then we're gonna go home.
Yeah.
It's gonna be kind of sad to leave, to be honest, but you know.
Excited for a bed though.
Yeah, excited to not worry that it's gonna be too cold to sleep.
Yeah.
All right, we'll check in with you guys the next morning when we go on our hike to the Beluga outpost.
Hope we see some whales.
Yeah, we saw a whale right in front of the ferry today.
Like a
It was
little
crazy.
bit of its back. Like a little
Yeah, a
bit.
tiny bit. I think we ran it over and squished it. We may have, but we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah.
If it wasn't for a really small, unimportant, easy thing called school, we definitely would have stayed longer in Saguenay. The park is huge and has so many hikes and activities just waiting for you to explore. We made it out in the morning for a quick hike to the Beluga lookout, which not only gave us a glimpse of the actual fjord, but we also got to see some whales with this lady's binoculars. And they say the French aren't nice. Still, the scenery looked incredible, and I definitely want to come back someday and kayak camp along the shoreline. It's really too bad we only have a day to spend here. And before we knew it, we were already back on the road headed towards home.
here we are on our way back to Ottawa. It's been about 3 hours since we left, Saguenay Park.
Yep.
Max is up behind the wheel.
We woke up to a nice little hike this morning. It was a cold night. It was our coldest night yet.
Yeah, it was probably somewhere from 0 to 5 degrees. It was a real chiller.
But we woke up, went for a nice little hike to try to see some whales. We saw like some sort of in the distance a little bit.
Yep, seen a bunch of things so far. Caribou, a whale right before the ferry, and 2 belugas in the bay. So that was awesome. On our way to stop at a McDonald's now. We're gonna try to get some coffee and ice cream. Hopefully power us through this drive. We have probably a little bit less than 5 hours to go right now. So we'll check in with you before we get into Ottawa. We are less than 40 minutes away from Ottawa, which we call home. Specifically, well, I'm not going to say where, but...
And this was a great way to end the summer, because we start school in 2 days.
Exactly. We have 1 day to chill, then that's it.
It was amazing, and I think I'm gonna sleep well tonight.
Yeah, last night we froze pretty good, so it'll be nice to finally have a bed to relax in. Hopefully that video was good if I actually end up putting it together in the end. And hopefully we do something like this sometime again.
Yeah, same time next summer.
Same time next summer.
They say the journey is what matters, not the destination. Well, whoever they are, I think they're only half right. I think the journey is what makes the destination. Without the 11-hour car ride, the setting up camp, the fast food stops, the hiking, the drinking unfiltered water, there would be no Gaspesie, no Mount Albert, and no Saguenay Fjord. All those experiences are what make an adventure, and I couldn't have asked for a better adventure than this one.